Hello, hello. My name is Rachel Blatt, and I'm the CEO of Royalty Logistics. And I wanted to create this video on the mindset of we don't use brokers. And I wanted to do this one for all the customers out there that have a mindset of, well, we can't use brokers. And two, for salespeople who are brokers that really can't seem to overcome this objection. Um, I just wanted to kind of, you know, clear the air on some things and really just connect with everybody and talk about how we can improve in this area. So, without further ado, if you are in the logistics industry, um, if you are, a customer like that is, you know, fed up with your shipping process, if you are an entrepreneur and want to continue to grow and scale your business, let's connect here. And I think this video will be worth your while. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Yay. So thank you so much. It's 5 o'clock. It's hump day. It's been a long week so far. And shipping for some reason has just been a struggle. Okay. And I know that it's not just me. I think everybody is experiencing this. So I want to talk to you today about why people don't want to use brokers. Okay. And just how to overcome that and get better. So the reason why I always scratch my head a little bit like, what happened, right? What was your negative experience? And I will tell you that not all brokers are created equal. All right. If you were to do business with me in my very first year of shipping vehicles, um, I probably was a hot mess for you. So it took me 11 years to get really, really good at my job, really. So and that's because I also had a commitment to being the best in the entire country. So I wanted to murder it. And that was my own personal commitment that I had. So let me just tell you a little bit about who I am for those of you that don't really know me, and a little bit about my background. I spent my career in sales. Sales and business development was how I made my living for the last, I don't know, 22 years. 6 years ago, I started my own company called Royalty Logistics. We are a nationally certified women owned business, and our specialty is right now automotive transport. So we ship finished vehicles for the auto industry. Um, when I got my start in sales long time ago, I started selling, you know, my very first sale was selling Girl Scout cookies. But from there, I went into knocking on doors and selling office supplies. Then I went into tech sales for 8 years and really had the creme de la creme of all of the technology. About well, I don't know, 11 years ago now. It's telling my age, but I came into the auto industry. The automotive industry is a very interesting beast because I think in terms of technology, that it's kind of far behind. And so when I came into this world, I mean, people were still asking me to send my contact information over fax. Sorry, guys, for those old school guys out there, but it really was a broken industry, which to me means that there was a lot of opportunity, and I still think that there is. I had an opportunity to get started working for one of the largest auto hauling trucking companies in the country. So I had a chance to work for them. I had a chance to work for a company that specialized in freight and automotive transport. So I got to see how those two animals connected and worked out, which was a very interesting experience. And I also got to work for a dealership that also wholesaled, was one of the largest wholesalers in the country. So I've kind of seen how each plays out throughout the thing all before starting my own company. So I've started Royalty Logistics with zero money. And we've grown it over the last 6 years to a multi-million dollar business. I'm very proud of that. Most women-owned businesses don't make it past 500,000, let alone a million. So I feel I am very qualified to come to you today to talk about this. Um, my sales experience, I have been at each of those companies that I work for. I was either in the top five or the number one for a very long time. So how did I get there, right? How did I get to be the number one? I did that by really understanding my customers. I wanted to make sure that I really took the time to listen to their needs and their experience. And so I'm hoping today to really just kind of help people understand why there's so many bad brokers out there and why there is some good ones. So with that experience, I have been able to create a very successful company. But though I've had my own set of small business problems, and becoming an entrepreneur is like a whole different kind of beast, right? So when it comes down to it, not all brokers are created equal. Okay. So if you are, doing it yourself and you're sick of it, whether you're a broker trying to get better, right? Let me give you some areas where, um, why things are the way they are. Okay. So most of the time, there is a high need for people that, like myself, that want to grow their company, right? And a lot of the people that are very good in our business are under non compete. I was in that situation, it was a nightmare. And so now that that has moved away, there's a little bit more freedom. But for the most part, when people were hiring people, they hired them very green. Okay. Some of them may have sales experience, some may have logistics experience, but they really had to start from the very beginning. Okay. Even though I had a technical sales background, I still was very new to this industry and didn't really wrap my head around it until like for like a year. So when you are looking at, hire or working with somebody, hiring a broker, you kind of want to do a little bit of your homework, right? So how long have they been doing this for? Right? So I've been in the business for 11 years and I've owned a company for 6, and I've tried to train as many people as I can, and some people are still with me and some people aren't. Most of the people that have worked with me are very successful, and they are because I have I'm very driven to make sure that we're the best in the business, and I'm a hard boss. All right. So and it's not easy, okay? Getting started is not easy. Getting customers is not easy. Overcoming, we don't use brokers. What the hell do you do? So when it comes to shipping, people don't use brokers because either they've been sold directly from a carrier, right? Like, oh, they are fixed in their mindset that brokers are, we're all pulling from the same, group of carriers. Why don't I go to the carrier directly? And in my particular niche, okay, which is auto transport, which is like a very, very little tiny part of the entire trucking industry, right? There is just a finite number of trucks, okay? And it comes down to understanding like the price that the customer wants to pay, that's also going to get that the carrier wants to take it for, that's going to get it to them in the time frame that they expected. And that is really an art, not a science. All right. So a lot of people have kind of come up with pricing tools and this and that. I know at one of my companies that I work for, they had a pricing tool, and it was somebody's entire job all day long to update that pricing. Okay, because when you are working in with a finite number of trucks, okay, you don't know where everybody's at in the entire country. If we did, we would not have a job. All right. And even then, we would still have to wait, okay, because not everybody can do everything all at once. So, most of the time, when people don't want to use brokers, is because they had a bad experience, right? Maybe they came across somebody that was inexperienced, that didn't really know how to handle it. Most of the people in my industry, and I don't know about yours, but in my industry, we are dealing with a lot of money. Okay. And people are emotionally attached to cars. I think it's ingrained in our society that people are emotionally attached to their cars. It's a car, right? And so being a good broker is really, and it's very difficult to do when you're brand new, right? You want to say yes to everything. You want to please the customer. You want to get the business, right? But not all business is the right business for you or the customer, right? So you got to kind of come down to that. And I do that really by finding out the entire story. And it's easy to say yes, 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 but sometimes you need to say no. All right, because it has to be a win-win relationship. Otherwise, you're doing the job for free and you're not going to make any money, and your customer's upset because the vehicles weren't moving. And so now it's a lose-lose situation, which is no fun. Now, sometimes you'll run into a broker who is scared of you. Maybe you yelled at them the first time, like, I really need these cars, and you're creating a lot of anxiety, which happens a lot. And it's a newer person, and they don't have the guts to come in and tell you the truth. All right. And this happens whether you're a carrier or a customer, right? I want to avoid this negative situation because that's how our brains are programmed, right? So it takes somebody who has a lot of experience to make a hard call, right? You want to be able to make the hard call. You don't want to avoid it. It's kind of like opening up your bills when you don't have any money. All right. That is what the experience is like. And so a lot of people just avoid it, right? Or they get on the phone and they'll lie and say, oh, yeah, 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 I got it. It's picking up tomorrow. It's picking up tomorrow. And this has even happened with us from our carrier base too, right? Oh, it's picking up tomorrow. It's picking up tomorrow. And so, we really try hard to use technology and a lot of people to ensure that those shipments are being picked up on time. It's the barrier to entry to become a broker, whatever, it is you know, doesn't take a lot of overhead. All right. You don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars right away. So there's a lot of people entering into the space that really, like that they learned their trade on YouTube, or they decided, okay, I'm going to Google it and start a company. So I challenge, and there's nothing wrong with that either. I just You really have to kind of grasp and try to get better um, at what you're doing. I had a very good training when I worked at the trucking company. They gave me a very solid foundation. Okay. But after 3 weeks, they just sort of threw me to the wolves. All right. And working for a very large corporation, we ran into a lot of red tape. We don't do that. That's not, we can't do that. We got to go get approval for that. And there was a lot of like bureaucracy and, when it comes to solving the problem at hand. At the end of the day, a good broke, you're not going to, not experience any issues at all. And in fact, if you've never experienced a transportation issue, I say you've never shipped enough cars. All right. So it happens everywhere with everyone. And um, it's difficult. So going back to what I said about um, you know, why people, you know, don't want to use brokers is really because, they may just not have a good they may have a really bad shipping experience. Maybe the person held them hostage and promised them the world and then never delivered, or their car showed up late and was never followed up on. Maybe they didn't do their due diligence and had to um, you know, had a damage claim and they could never get paid on. Okay, so a good broker will put a lot of processes into place to vet the carriers, to make sure that the people that they're hauling for them are legit. And also our company personally carries additional insurance. We pay a lot of money for that, more than I would like to admit, just to be the backup should we my team fail to do their due diligence, or there's like, fraudulent things going on where somebody faked their insurance plan. Okay. When people are like the best, right? We try to create a culture of continuing to get better. I have I still try to master my job. I've been very good at it, done it at a high level for many years, and I'm still learning how to overcome things. If you have a nightmare shipping story, we want to hear about it because honestly, we've worked really hard, and everything that you can possibly imagine has happened to me over the years, you know. And I just continue every day to, put myself in the hard situations and continue to grow. So now let's talk about if you were doing it yourself, okay, and why people want to do it themselves. A lot of things comes down to control, right? They want to have transparency and see what's happening with every single minute. They don't want to wait for somebody to give them that information. They want it right now. Okay. And so that's why a lot of people will do it themselves. And another thing is that they will challenge you to, they think that by doing it themselves, they're saving money. Now, there is some benefits to that, but I will say this eventually, if your organization gets big enough, okay, where you literally have to hire somebody to, manage all the shipments, then you probably should be reaching out to a broker and trying to find the best one that you possibly can. Okay. This and we got to do our due diligence, right? So when that time comes, you want to make sure that not only are they licensed bonded, but they're also insured. A lot of people just have the bond. Okay, the bond really doesn't protect the customer, it only protects the carrier. So you want to make sure that the company has the additional insurance. Otherwise, it's going to fall back on the customer's insurance. And that is no fun for you as the customer if it has to fall back on your insurance. The other thing is you want to have the technology that gives them the transparency. We utilize some of the best technology in that's available. And believe me, I've used pretty much all of them. Okay. Not only when it's that from a tracking standpoint, right? But also from an accounting standpoint. I think a lot of people miss this when they're doing it themselves. Let me tell you a quick story. Last year, or maybe it was the year before, but we had probably about, I don't know, 6,000 um, 1099s that we had to send out. And we use QuickBooks Online for, sending out our 1099s. And because we sent out so many, it created a bug in the QuickBooks system, and we were out without books for literally like 2.5 months. We were crying to them. Can't even begin to tell you how much this cost my business. Probably set me back months and months and months. But we broke the system because we had so many different carriers that had hauled for us that year. And luckily they fixed it. But if you're doing it yourself and you have at that high level, right, there is some situations, right? Your accounting department literally has to make sure that you have the insurance, the 1099 filled out. I think we just ran into a situation where now we have to collect workman's comp for everybody, all of our contractors. I mean, this is a lot of work for somebody who's handling your money, and it creates extra work on your bookkeepers, your accounting departments. And so, one of the beautiful things about using a broker is that whether you use one or two or whatever, that you do not have all that, data entry, that work, those 1099s, and it really makes it easier on your CPA your and your accounting people. And we all want to keep the people that handle the money as happy as possible. Okay. I really have never met a joyful accounting person. And if you are in accounting, I would challenge you to say, to, you know, look for other opportunities or to bring this to your owner, just to say, hey, this is going to make our life a lot easier. So then you guys can focus on what you do best, which is, your payroll, your accounts payable, and things like that. Maybe even doing a audit of your financials, for stuff like that. Now, you also have, the capacity of the broker. So, we started this company 6 years ago. We've moved a lot of vehicles since then, and we have customers across the board. So, you know, when you are looking for a broker, you really want to find out, have they ever serviced your type of account before, right? So if they've always done, let's say, personal moves, right? How are they going to translate that into the dealership or an OEM, right? So we've done business with every single type of customer in our niche, which is the automotive industries, all the way from the personal move, all the way to fleet management companies, rental companies, OEMs, even businesses, right? So, and what I say there is, and the reason why I bring this up is because every customer cares about something different. And you really have to tailor your presentation to that particular customer. And if you're the customer, you really have to make sure that that person understands your expectation and knows how to handle that. So a lot of times we run into people, oh, we don't use brokers because, oh, you can't handle the volume. Well, I know there's a lot of companies out there that are brokers that do handle large volumes. And they like it because they have the not only do they have like one point of contact where they can see everything in one place, but they have access to a lot more um, truck space because they can then, um, they have more access to the truck space and their stuff gets picked up faster. So lots of reasons there, why people do love to work with brokers. Now, sometimes what it comes down to is the relationship that the broker has with the carrier. Okay, so there's a lot of people I know out there that will not work with certain companies, larger ones, I won't say, because they have been burned in the past. They didn't like the way they communicated. So a lot of times we'll hear something like, well, you all are accessing from the same pool of carriers. And I will challenge that and say, well, some people have better relationships with others. We are probably the strongest in the Midwest. We're from Michigan. And we have some other areas, maybe out west, not as great as we are over here, like east of the Mississippi. So, and that goes along with time and um, time in the marketplace, the scope of our company, um, the culture of our company. There's a lot of people that want to burn and churn, that don't have expectations. As I've been growing this company, I have, how do we organize it the most efficiently? So a lot of these bigger companies right now are buying other companies. And as they're doing that, they are having a breakdown in service. And the reason why is because when you grow too quickly, and I've experienced this myself, is that your company begins to break down, right? Like you'll blow out your 1099s and lose your books for 2 months, right? What else do we have happen? The culture starts breaking down. People aren't sure what their responsibility is anymore because they have a new management team. Some people are green and don't know how to be trained properly. Some people don't even know how to be successful at their jobs. And so, you know, are they training every day? Are they getting better? Does people know what their roles and responsibility are? Is the company organized in an effective way so that, you know, when a challenge does arise, that it knows how to be handled? And these things come with, growing a business. And whether or not, that company has a ton of money or not, is helpful. A company can always throw money at a situation, but is that really going to solve the problem? So, things to think about when you're growing a business as a brokerage, or you're you're looking to hire a broker, or maybe not. Maybe you want to just stay the status quo. And I will just tell you, that's fine by me. I'm really here just to let people know that this is how I would overcome that situation, and to let people know that even though not all brokers are created equal, there are some really good ones out there. And if you are so I really am just, hopefully that this was helpful to you. I started this really to also, we're growing our company. We want to train and hire the best people, right? And we want to be able to give them access. So we've created a culture that is unlike any culture that I've worked at or seen so far. This is a very much a team environment, which I really believe that it allows people to, um, one, not compete against each other, because I've seen that happen in companies, but helps them to become experts more quickly. So when you're working in a team environment, you know, how would you handle this particular situation, right? There's a easier sense of problem solving, and my team is empowered to solve the problem, right? Um, and that, I think, is an issue, because you cannot prevent all of the problems that happen in our industry. Um, there's always going to be something, and it could even come down to traffic. All right. And I just want to thank everybody out there that is on the road delivering for brokers. Because at the end of the day, you're an extension of who we are, and we want to build a relationship with you, because when we are close with their carriers, and then we are honestly give great service to our customers. And if you're a customer that is, um, you know, on the fence about whether or not um, to use a broker, I would suggest doing your homework, okay, and just making sure that that person is legit, is insured, has experience, the kind of culture that the company is. Find out who you're doing business with. All right, not all of us are created equal, and for those out there that are actually brokers who are doing this, who are listening today, I created an entire platform of training videos where I go over all of the objections. I go over how to design a service for a customer, how to, do this business right. So if you are interested in becoming a better broker, or working with us, I challenge you to connect with us. For those out there, you can find us for our social, across our social. We are at royaltyships.com. Okay, so you can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, all that good stuff, Instagram, even TikTok these days. So at Royalty Ships, and then royaltyships.com for our website. If you are interested in my course where I kind of break these down for you a little bit more, or even working with us as a customer or anything like that, please email me at rachel@royaltyships.com. I know, hopefully this was informative to you, and I really appreciate you listening today. Have a great rest of your evening. You've all been amazing. And so let's all become the best in the business. And I look forward to hearing from you all. So feel free to connect with us. And we're looking forward to hearing your input. Appreciate you.